Hello, today we're looking at finding the area of triangles, which actually, if you understand how to find the area of a rectangle or a parallelogram, a triangle is not that different. And here's why. So we're going to look at this triangle right here. So if you remember from our notes earlier, this is a right triangle because we see that right angle in this corner. So you can imagine taking this triangle and basically flipping it over on itself and copying it. And what you would see is something that looks like this. So when we look at this, what we see basically is what we've been doing, which is finding the area of a rectangle. And in this case, our rectangle's base is 10 millimeters and its height is 6 millimeters, because remember we have that right angle right here. Using that, we know that its area would equal base times height, so it would be 10 times 6 or 60 millimeters squared. But we're not working with a rectangle, we're actually working with the triangle. And when we look at it, kind of like when we were doing areas of angles of polygons and trying to find the missing angles, we see that this rectangle is actually two triangles. So we can take that 60 millimeters squared and we're going to divide it into two pieces because that's what we did to get the triangles. So the area of this triangle is 30 millimeters squared, and this one would be 30 millimeters squared. So that's where the 60 comes from, but because we're only focused on the one triangle, our answer would be 30 millimeters squared. Meaning the thing to remember is that a triangle is really half of a parallelogram or a rectangle. With the same base and height. And we can use that to develop our formula. The formula to find the area of a triangle. So A is going to equal, we can either do base times height and divide that by 2, or the other way we can look at it is we're going to take 1/2 times the base times the height. Either one of these works, it just kind of depends on what's easier for you. Sometimes I find it easier to just multiply the two numbers and then divide it by 2, but sometimes it's easier to take half of one of the numbers for mental math purposes and then multiply it after that, depending on the numbers that you're looking at. So let's look at one more example. We're going to find the area of this oblique triangle, and we're going to show that this oblique triangle is still half of a parallelogram. Right? So in order to do that, thinking about taking this, copying it, and then reflecting it over, what we would end up with, I'm going to use a different color, is this parallelogram with the same base and height, but once again, just half. To find the area, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of 4, just because I can do it really easily mentally. So if I take half of this, and now I can just do 2 times 7, so its area would be 14 feet squared. Or if you wanted to look at it a different way, we could have still done 4 times 7, which would be 28, and then take that and divide it by 2, and we would still end up with 14 feet squared. And that is how you find the area of a triangle.